Hari ini kita mendapat kesempatan untuk berbicara dengan Profesor Alexandru Grigorescu dari Universitas Loyola Chicago. Beliau adalah Chair of Department Political Science, Ketua Departemen Ilmu Politik di University Loyola Chicago, dan juga seorang yang memiliki expertise dalam hubungan internasional. Beliau juga Direktur Center for Research in International Affairs di Universitas Loyola Chicago. Dan hari ini kita akan berbicara 5-minute talks tentang isu yang menjadi expertise beliau dalam hubungan internasional, terutama terkait dengan global governance, institusi internasional, dan bagaimana peran besar dalam lembaga internasional ini. Good morning from Alex. So, as you might observe, that Indonesia recently chaired G20. So, and in fact, recently Indonesia, play a big, role in international affairs by chairing this G20. Indonesia also will be chairing ASEAN as well. So, how do you observe this? To what extent Indonesia can make good use of this chairmanship and to expand its role in international relations?
Thank you very much for the question. So, as somebody who studies international relations in general, of course, we focus on important states and other states as well. I'll be very honest, in the research that I've been doing and in the readings that I've been doing, there's very little about what Indonesia has been doing as a country, and especially in the United States, when everybody knows that Indonesia's population is growing, going to become more populous than the United States, there is this clear sense that Indonesia is going to be playing a more important role in international relations. And it's a little bit surprising for some of us in the United States that it hasn't done so already. We understand the reasons as well for this not happening. But coming here to Indonesia recently and talking to some people, it was fascinating to hear that the perspective, at least the people that I spoke to, their perspective was the G20 is wonderful, we're so happy that we're hosting it, but what can go wrong? What mistakes can we make? We're so happy that it ended and we didn't make major mistakes. While I would expect that the questions that people would ask was, what can Indonesia get from the G20? Hosting something like the G20 is very important. ASEAN as well. So my sense is that Indonesia has not yet gotten to the point where it realizes its potential in international relations. There are many countries that are more focused on the domestic issues, always wondering whether there's something they could do internationally, and I don't think Indonesia is quite there yet, and my personal opinion is that it could play a very important role. So not just as a very powerful country, increasingly powerful country, a country that I've discovered is a very diverse one in many ways, and this diversity allows it to connect to other states. It has traditions, it has connections with other important states. I know that geographically you have India and you have China that are not far. Through the G20 now being one of the important G20 countries in the world, you should already be thinking in terms of what does Russia want from us, what can we give Russia, what does the United States want from us. So it is just, was somewhat surprising to see that Indonesia was not ready to play that more important role, and I think personally that it's as simple as that.
Okay, so Prof. Alex, with a more increasing role of Indonesia international relations, do you also think that it's a momentum for improving as well the global governance, in the sense that many issues is being tackled by G20 and so forth, and to what extent this an improve global governance as well?
So one aspect of the role that Indonesia is to play more broadly in global governance and in general is for a country that is democratic, that has elections, it needs to, the leaders need to understand how much the people want the country to be involved. I come from a country that was not democratic until around 1989. And it became clear that there were certain foreign policies that the public wanted, even when the government did not. Romania joining the European Union and NATO was extremely important for the public, even though some governments were not as interested at certain moments. And it's not unique to new democracies. It's also something that all democracies are learning. Like you said, globalization is this understanding that events and elements from far away, somewhere else in the world, are affecting our lives directly. The fact that I pay more for bananas or for gasoline or for various things is a reflection that the world is affecting my life. And increasingly people are aware of this. So because of that, there is also a sense that public opinion about international relations is becoming increasingly important. And that's why I was very happy to hear that at Populi Center, you are starting to look at public opinion on international relations and obviously on questions of Indonesia's role, whether it's in ASEAN or in the G20 or more broadly, how Indonesians look at various countries. So this is something that international policymakers need to look at very closely, because in a democratic society, they know that they can't stray too much in one direction or the other. So I do believe this is important, and I think you're doing a wonderful job that you're including these questions in your surveys now.
Okay. Yeah, as we are, we are currently enlarging our scope of research to international affairs. What do you think? What sort of international issues that might be captured and quite lively in the future that we might start thinking for our research in this research center like Populi Center?
And that's a really good question. And I think you can think about it in two different ways. Already the results of the surveys that you've been doing give you an idea of how much Indonesians follow the various topics. So, of course, the G20 was more in the news. People knew more about it. But also bilateral relations. What should Indonesia's relationship be with China, with India, with the U.S., with Russia? So you get a sense from doing these surveys what people are interested in. But I would argue that there's also a kind of a different direction. Once Indonesians see the results of your survey and notice that a large majority of people do not like this policy or that other policy, you will learn as well what is important for people. And it's kind of like a circle, and because as you know, public opinion is not just for institutions to know about what people think, but then it's to feed back to people so they can be surprised sometimes. Oh, I wasn't aware that the majority believe that this is something important. Now that I thought about it, I realize that it is. So you will learn in time what the important issues are, and whether I believe it's about the relationship with the UN or the World Bank or the US or Russia. It doesn't matter if the public in Indonesia actually thinks that there's something much more important. Maybe the relationship with India, maybe the relationship with China, maybe the relationship with countries closer by are much more important. I think you will learn from the surveys that you're going to do, and you're going to continue improving them and fine-tuning them by doing that.
So I think your insights will be helpful for us to understand to what extent Indonesia can maximize the potential of the future. Terima kasih atas waktu yang sudah diberikan Prof. Alex pada kita.